The following is a presentation of the BellyUpSports Media Network.
The ball sends it over to Edward Robles. Goal! Insert name FC! Let's go! Insert name FC!
What is up, everybody? My name is Hector Flores, host of the Insert Name FC podcast, a member of the BellyUpSports Media Network. You can find us on all things podcasting on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast fix, you will find us there. You can also find the video version, which isn't necessarily the full episode. You're just going to get like the clips of certain segments that we talk about on our YouTube channel. So go ahead and check us out at Insert Name FC. We've been trying to grow that out. I believe we're now at 6. I think we just passed 6,000. So thank you. Obviously we haven't really necessarily announced any of those YouTube followers, but thank you for all who have subscribed and have viewed us on YouTube. Really appreciate that. So yeah, make sure you guys also jersey giveaway. Remember, guys, this is going to be the last week to be able to enter the jersey giveaway. So make sure you guys do so if you guys want in on a chance to get a jersey of your choosing. So make sure you guys get in there as well. Also, you can find our video as well on GolzTV, GolzTV. It is an amazing website, especially if you're looking for soccer content. You've had Jose Tejas come on here plenty of times. Great person to talk to. He is the mastermind, genius, visionary, whatever the hell you want to call it, behind GolzTV. So it's an amazing product. Make sure you guys check it out. Also, they have partnered with USL and Indy 11, man. So they are definitely getting a lot of attention in the soccer sphere here in the U.S. and North America as well, because there is a Canadian also. And then you also find me on occasion over there on their original programs like Wake Up MLS. So definitely go ahead and check them out. This week, man, we're recapping all the leagues. We're going to recap Ligue 1, Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga, and the Premier League. So we're going to go ahead and get that all nice and covered. We're going to preview the Champions League final. We're also going to be recapping La Liga, Liga MX final. It has concluded. So we'll definitely talk about that as well. Give you guys our players of the week. Give you guys some matches. Well, we'll see. We'll see what's coming up in the matches to highlight for this weekend. I mean, obviously MLS is still going on, but we'll see what's there to talk about, because we are going into the off season when it comes to Europe. There will be one more episode. Obviously, we're gonna recap the Champions League, all the European competitions next episode, and maybe possibly take a break. But obviously that's kind of tricky because of the fact that we do have the Euro and Copa America coming up this summer. So, but we're going to have to figure some things out, because I will be leaving the country on June 14th. I'm going to El Salvador. So we're going to have to figure at least something out for that. But yeah, so so that's pretty much it. Super excited for this episode. Probably be a little lengthy because we're going to be talking about all the leagues, but, and it's still just me, but we'll get there. We'll get through it, man. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and take a break. You'll hear a lovely ad, and then we'll go right into overreactions and then recapping the Power 5 leagues.
Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of BellyUpSports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at RighteousFelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon jerky.
All right, we're back. All right, so make sure you guys follow us on Instagram and X at InsertNameFC. Also, check us out on TikTok at insert.name.fc if you guys want to see posts and clips from episodes that we record. So if you guys want to see all that, that's how you can check us out. We're trying to grow our social media out definitely just as much as everything else is. So greatly appreciated. But our reactions, man. I'm gonna obviously congratulations, Manchester United. You beat Man City in the FA Cup final 2-1. I do love the answer from Pep Guardiola when they asked him if is Manchester United the better team. He straight up just said no, which I think is a very fair point. But that honestly has nothing to do with it. The overreaction is that I probably should have been rooting for Manchester City to win the FA Cup. And the reason why is because, especially if you're talking about Premier League only, obviously you guys know I support Arsenal. And yeah, obviously Liverpool won the Carabao Cup. Manchester City won the Premier League. And Manchester United win the FA Cup, which it's not a good look if you're an Arsenal supporter because you didn't win anything. Obviously this was an amazing year for Arsenal fans. It's been getting better and better each year as an Arsenal supporter, and I think that is a very fair point. And I think that's the consolation right now of having to say that next year is probably going to be the year. But yeah, I mean the aesthetics. I'm only going off of the aesthetics right now. It would have probably been. It probably would have been at least for saving face, especially if you're an Arsenal supporter and trying to, validate this season. It's harder to defend it when Manchester United wins it versus Man City because then you're like, oh look, Man City won it, obviously. So, like I said, it's like people are gonna, Arsenal fandom is a weird thing, right? Because it's not necessary. It isn't necessarily how do I say this? It's very wishy-washy, right? Like you kind of go through the emotions. You go through it. It's an emotional roller coaster. There's a lot of highs, definitely a lot of lows, and obviously, because a lot of the Arsenal fans they're not used to this Arsenal team now, like where they are now, where there's hope, and I mean, Jose Tejas has mentioned it plenty of times, trying to, his frustration with Arsenal fans, and I understand it just because I do it plenty of times. There was a time where I was saying Mikel Arteta out. Things like that. There was a point where I can't stand Stan Kroenke, and I mean, I still kind of do. I still kind of can't stand that man yet. But it is once again what Arsenal fans are known for, right? Like I said many a times, like Arsenal fan TV. The reason why people love watching Arsenal fan TV is because of the fact that they go through the motions of being an Arsenal supporter. So it's like that's just never going to change. And I know someone trying to say, well, Manchester United has a really no, like no one goes to watch him get mad after a loss. Like peak Arsenal fan TV is when Arsenal's down bad and people go there to go see like the Arsenal fans just go through the motions because once again, I think that would be an interesting episode to like kind of dissect like what would be the American version of some of these European teams to like kind of explain like what the equivalents would be of them. I think that would be an interesting episode. I might have to like see how to go about that because I kind of that one I want to recruit some people. But yeah, no, I think that would be an interesting episode definitely to have. Uh, maybe somewhere like right now since we're kind of going into the kind of the off season, if you will. So we'll see what's the plan there. When it comes to that, but yeah, like I said though, and I'm not saying I was hoping Manchester. I actually was rooting for Manchester United to win the FA Cup because of the fact that I just don't want to see Manchester City win another trophy. Because it was already heartbreaking as it was to see them win the Premier League this year, especially because that was the only thing that Arsenal had going for them this year. And yeah, I thought that maybe it wasn't gonna happen. I thought Manchester United is just gonna, you know. It was like Man City is just inevitable. But when Manchester United did win, I was very much happy because once again, fuck Man City. But then it dawned to me at that point where I was like, fuck. Everyone's gonna start making fun of Arsenal for not having a trophy, especially with Manchester United. Looking at the way Manchester United has been this year, um, they got a trophy and Arsenal did not. And once again, this is apples and oranges, right? Like, it's two completely different situations and all those things, but it's just the aesthetic goes back to the aesthetic. Like, it's not a good look for an Arsenal supporter that wants to try to validate this season, even though you came out empty-handed, you didn't. You got eliminated in Champions League, which was expected. No one was expecting you to win the Champions League. The best shot was the Premier League title. You get eliminated early in the FA Cup. You get eliminated in the Carabao Cup. So like all these things just didn't pan out, and you couldn't win a trophy. I know someone's gonna say the FA Community Shield, and I just want to tell you, fuck you. But yeah, this just. I still say, as an Arsenal supporter, that there is a lot of positive to take from it, being that that they're almost there. They're missing one thing. I think honestly, I think it's just they're missing one thing, and once they have that one thing, I think this team is going to be a very dangerous team, barring injuries, next season. So yes, I am going to say next year it should be the year. At least that's what we're hoping for. So we'll see. But Man City is always going to be a problem, and that's just going to be the reality. Until I think till Pep Guardiola leaves, Man City will still be a problem. But I digress. Congratulations, Manchester United, for winning the FA Cup. Well deserved. Well, not really, but they needed one. They needed this. They needed this, and they got it. So I do believe Ten Hag will still be getting fired. I don't think that that's going to change. But yeah, there you go. There it is. But all right, guys. So the Power 5 teams in Europe are done. No more regular season play. The seasons are over. The cups are over, right? Congratulations to Bayer Leverkusen. PSG did win Coupe de France. Celtic won the Scottish Cup. Yeah, congrats to all of them for winning their in-season tournaments. So congratulations to all of them. Obviously, PSG, giant fuck you, no matter what. But you guys did win. But now we're gonna go down and talk about the tables. So we're gonna kick things off with Ligue 1, and with Ligue 1 we have. So we're gonna start from the bottom. So getting relegated this year is Clermont Foot, Lorient, and Metz, who will be playing a play-in game. So they'll have a relegation game to see if they can stay. So Metz is the team that's going to try to figure out if they can stay in Ligue 1, or will they be getting relegated down to Ligue 2. I think the thing to point out also from this season was this was the year that Ligue 1 decided to switch from 20 teams to 18. So this year we had I guess from last season, 5 teams got relegated down to Ligue 2. So I just a little interesting thing to point out, just because obviously this was a little bit different from the usual years from Liga, but there is that. Teams to note: Stade Rennes, Stade Reims, and Marseille all ended in 10th to 8th place. Um, you know, teams that I would say you would fairly see do very well in this league, and kind of had a little dip this year, a little bit of a dip. But anyways, Europa Conference League. So going in the Europa Conference League spot is Olympic Lyon. This team was on the cusp of relegation, bounces back, and are now in a European competition spot. It's Conference League, I get it, but hey, if you were in the point of relegation to the point where you have a fucking idiot, talking about if this team gets relegated, if this team avoids relegation, was so adamant that this team was probably gonna get relegated that he was willing to do a jersey bet. What a fucking moron that guy was. That, you would think that, yeah, this team looks bad, like nothing's working in their way. And then the second half of the season, they figure it out. They get back on track, and they go from being on the cusp of relegation to now in an Europa Conference League spot. That to me is a successful season. That was, yeah, amazing. So congratulations to Leon. And obviously the fans should be happy because of the, obviously it cost me a jersey bet. So a jersey giveaway. So take what you can get, man. But all right. In 5th place, the Europa League spot is going to Nice. Nice gets the Europa League spot. A Champions League qualifying spot, so they have to go through the qualifications for Champions League. So it's not necessarily a guaranteed Champions League spot, but Lille is in that spot. So I believe if Lille does not do well in the playoff, they do get sent down to Europa League. So that is still potential to see a European competition. So we'll see how that turns out for Lille. But Lille in that qualifying spot. And then Brest and AS Monaco will be in the Champions League. They got the automatic Champions League spots. Brest has been the team of this season to watch. A team that's normally, I would say, a very mid-table team. Had a pretty good season, almost finished in second, but now they're going to the Champions League. So I'm sure the fans of Brest are very excited to be in Champions League and see how they fare. I should point this out. Champions League will be a lot different this coming year, because they're moving on from the group stages. There's not going to be a group. It's going to be one giant table. We'll definitely break down the new rules for Champions League when we get closer to it. We've talked about it plenty of times. It's the fucking Super League. That's literally what it is. But just so you guys know about what is going to look like this year. AS Monaco finishing in second. We've been waiting for Monaco, bro. Like, Monaco, if you guys remember, was kind of supposed to be the competitor to PSG, because they also got in some wealthy owners, and a lot of people were thinking like, oh, this is gonna be the competitor to PSG, and it just never worked out. And but now here they are finishing in second in Ligue 1, and of course winning Ligue 1 for what feels like the millionth time is PSG. It's not really been the millionth time, but they have definitely been dominating this league for quite some time. But PSG, despite all that was going through PSG, you still have a lot of quality players on that team. Despite the drama that was going on with Mbappe, despite the fact that Mbappe is going to be leaving this season, where is he going? More than likely Real Madrid, but we're not, that's not guaranteed yet. But yeah, there they are, winning Ligue 1 as expected. Do I expect them to still be winning this even without Mbappe? Yes. I don't see a team being competitive enough with PSG anytime soon. Maybe Monaco can finally get it going, but it's gonna be a while before someone can catch up to what PSG has done, which is just the fact that they have so much fucking money that it's unreal. But we are where we are now. So PSG, champions of Ligue 1. So congrats to them. Because I guess I don't really know. I don't really want to say congrats, but there you go. They are the Ligue 1 champions. Going to guaranteed Champions League. So it'll be funny if like when Mbappe leaves, that's when they win the Champions League title. That's just my thoughts, but we'll see. We'll see about that. All right. Now going into the Bundesliga, we got in the relegation zone, we have 18 plays Darmstadt and FC Cologne getting relegated down to Bundesliga 2. Bochum will be in a play-in game to see who will stay in the Bundesliga or the third place team from Bundesliga 2. Who either they get promoted or Bochum stays up top on top flight. So there's that. All right, teams of note in the standings. I mean, Union Berlin, a team that many thought was gonna keep getting better and better. Had a huge break off. They finished in 15th place. Remember, this team got promoted to the Bundesliga a few years ago, and like I said, consistently kept playing good, playing better and better. So many people were thinking that maybe they can, finish in a Champions League spot. But they had a huge fall off, almost on the verge of getting relegated back down to the Bundesliga 2. Borussia Mönchengladbach, another team who finished in 14th, has been kind of having a little bit of a drop off in the recent years. So that's where they are as well. Wolfsburg, another team of note, finishing in 12th. Heidenheim has been a very interesting story. They finished in 8th place. Hoffenheim, I believe, has the American coach. Don't remember off the top of my head his name, but he's like a sneaky, it's a guy that no one's really talking about, and that's it is kind of disrespectful that we aren't giving this guy like as much. Pellegrino Matarazzo. We don't really give this guy his flowers. I believe Hoffenheim was pretty down bad when he came and took over, and I mean, 7th place. Like that, actually, as I'm saying this, we should probably be talking about. So Heidenheim, like I said, we were talking about them. They're going Europa Conference League. So really great for them. Really great for them. So very positive for them to be having European competition. Hoffenheim in that Europa League spot. So just giving more love to Pellegrino. Is it Pellegrino? Yeah, Pellegrino Matrazo. Yeah, so Pellegrino, man, we got. I'll say this, man, we got to start giving some love to Pellegrino. Obviously we keep like flaunting Jesse Marsch. We need to start giving Pellegrino some love because that dude has been a fucking grinder, especially in the Bundesliga, has a ton of Bundesliga experience. And I think what he was able to do with Hoffenheim was really impressive. So Pellegrino, I'm gonna give you this. This is your love for you right now, dude, bro. I'm giving you your flowers, bro. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. Keep doing it. Like you're clearly doing something right. Because Hoffenheim now in an Europa League spot. So congrats to him. Eintracht Frankfurt will be staying in the Europa League as well. And this year, Bundesliga got 5 Champions League spots. I believe it was also like a combination of the fact that Real Madrid already won their league and obviously is in the final. PSG won their league. Bayern Munich was already in a Champions League spot. Borussia Dortmund was sitting at 5th place. They would have been in an Europa League position, but because of the fact that I think 3 of the 4 teams that were in the semifinals were already in that Champions League position, that it garnered a league to have an extra spot. And I'm guessing because of the fact that there was 2 Bundesliga teams in the semifinals, that was the reason why they went ahead and added a extra spot for Champions League in the Bundesliga, and Borussia Dortmund is that team. They're in the final, so be excited for that. But they will be in the at least guaranteed to be back in the Champions League this year. And then the other Champions League teams is RB Leipzig, Bayern Munich, who finished in third this year, because VfB Stuttgart finished in second, which amazing story. Once again, I told everybody, like, if it wasn't for the fact that Bayer Leverkusen had the year that they had, we'd probably be giving some love to Stuttgart, because what a turnaround, what a season for them to finish in second. I think very just overall solid performance for Stuttgart, and now they're going to get rewarded by going into the Champions League next year. And of course, the winners, Bayer Leverkusen, who went undefeated, lost in the Europa Conference League final. We'll talk about that more next week. But yeah, an amazing season. They did win the DFB Pokal, so they do get a double. I'm gonna say this. I'm just gonna say this. I think it is kind of a relief that Bayer Leverkusen didn't win the Europa League. And I'll say that, like, obviously this sounds stupid because, like, who wouldn't want another trophy? But it's because we would then have to have the conversation, right, of where does this treble lie? Because obviously people are going to keep throwing out the perfect season, right? The perfect season, which is not perfect season in Bundesliga now, but obviously because Europa League they lost to Atalanta. But yeah, I was kind of just over. I think for Bayer Leverkusen, it's good. They had an amazing season. There's no one's going to take that away from them. First undefeated team in Bundesliga history. The records on that this year had from Xabi Alonso and his men, all amazing. But I just think if they would have won the Europa League, the conversations were going to get a little bit ridiculous, because I think a lot of people, and that includes myself, wasn't going to rate this treble because of the fact that it was in Europa League. Like, people would still rate the treble over others, maybe kind of mid Champions League runs, but like at the end of the day, the Europa League is the Europa League. It's not the Champions League. So, and obviously, no one said that that's the hierarchy, the necessary pathway to a treble. But like I said, though, like, it's hard to like argue because they did go undefeated. But the other argument would be that it's kind of hard to kind of, value the Europa League, because I think Champions League is significantly harder to win. You're going up against tougher competition. And I know so many people were like, oh man, it's a shame that stop saying that it was a shame that, Bayer Leverkusen wasn't in the Champions League this year, because Champions League, you only get put in Champions League depending on how you did the previous year. So, and I mean, Bayer Leverkusen was really good last year. Obviously, once Xabi Alonso took over, they were able to flip their season around because they were looking pretty bad before Xabi Alonso, and I get all those things, but like, you play who you play, and I don't want to take that away from anybody. Like, I don't want to take away from Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich and Real Madrid and PSG, who worked their asses off to make it to the semifinals, going through a lot of tough competitions, having to go up against Atletico Madrid, having to go up against Manchester City, having to go up against Barcelona, having to go up against Arsenal and so on and so forth. Like, it's not, people are saying that it's not fair to Bayer Leverkusen. Well, it's not fair to the teams that actually went through the gauntlet of the Champions League. So, like, Bayer Leverkusen was in the Europa League because that's where they finished last year. This year, they're going to be in Champions League. Now, it's going to be a little bit different now because, once again, Champions League is going to be different. The format for the Champions League is going to be drastically different than the way it was this season. And so, there's going to be some question marks. There's going to probably be some frustration, but it is what it is. I'm going to be happy for Bayer Leverkusen for having the year that they had, but I am not going to try to, it would be a shame. No, like, dude, they're about to go compete in Champions League next year. They have a chance to try to replicate what they did this next year. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they can replicate an undefeated season. But they had an amazing year. Be happy about the amazing year. And don't try to get Bayer Leverkusen is going to be a team that people are going to start using more on FIFA. Or EA Sports. I'm sorry, EA Sports FC. Actually, no, because FIFA 2K25 is happening apparently. So there might be a FIFA. So we'll see what happens there. But congratulations to Bayer Leverkusen, champions, undefeated champions. So what an amazing season for this was. I would honestly say Bundesliga was probably like the best out of all the seasons, probably one of the better seasons in my opinion, because even though Bayer Leverkusen ran away with it, I don't think anybody was mad that it was Bayer Leverkusen that ran away with it. And so that's where I'm at with that. But amazing season nonetheless, man. But all right, man. Serie A going into the relegation zone, man. Salernitana, Sassuolo, and Frosinone will be getting relegated to the Serie B. These teams just, they just couldn't do it, man. I will say though, Salernitana was very much not getting promoted. Was very much down bad. They were a terrible team this year. Obviously, Memo Ochoa is leaving. I believe the rumor is that he's going to San Diego. So we'll see what happens there. I know some Americanistas are hoping that he comes back to America. I don't see that happening, but that's just my thought. Hellas, some teams to note: Hellas Verona, 13th place. Napoli at 10th after winning the league the year before, which was kind of expected. I didn't think they were going to replicate what they did last year. But there we are. And Fiorentina Fiorentina in that 8th place spot, which is the Europa Conference League spot. We'll see what happens with them. They have a potential going into the Europa League if they're able to win the Conference League. By the time this episode drops, you already know that either that did or not happen. But at least they're in the Conference League position. I believe if that's the case, I think if Fiorentina does win the Conference League, I believe Torino will be the team that ends up going to the Conference League, since Fiorentina will be in Europa League. Lazio and Roma will be in the Europa League this season. Which, I mean, Roma, what a turnaround from where they were, after they fired Jose Mourinho. Obviously, De Rossi comes in to take over, and they're in a European competition spot. So very, very positive for them over there at Roma. I'm hoping that now a full year with De Rossi, we'll see what happens with Roma. Can Roma go back to being a powerhouse club? And we have 5 Champions League spots. Bologna, Atalanta, Juventus, and AC Milan are going into Champions League. Atalanta is automatically in the Champions League for winning the Europa League. So I'm guessing because of that they were able to add also an additional spot for Serie A, which is Bologna now getting a Champions League position. But we're going to see Juventus back in Champions League, which is great to see. But I'm excited to see how Atalanta answers, man. They had to go up against Bayer Leverkusen, and they took them on, and not even without really breaking a sweat. So we'll see how they respond going into their position where they are now. And of course, champions, they ran away with it, which, I want to give props to Serie A, but the thing is though, these champions have been far and away winning the league. So hopefully we have at least a title race next year. But Inter Milan wins it. Wasn't even close, bro. They had 94. They finished the season with 94 points. AC Milan, who was right behind them, had 75. So it was not even close. They were very much cruising near the end of the season. But they win the Serie A. But it's great to see, like I said, Serie A is getting significantly better, man. And I love what I'm seeing from it. I enjoy that the leagues are getting more competitive. to see, AC Milan, Juventus, and Inter Milan like back into the mix. Roma coming back. Seeing teams like Lazio, Fiorentina like getting competitive. To see Bologna going into the Champions League next year. Like that is great things to see. Like I think that that's a lot of positive to take from this league, and I can't wait for this league to continue to get better. So we'll see what happens, man. But that is the Serie A. Really good season in my opinion, and hopefully it keeps getting better. And now we're going into La Liga, which is my league of preference. Teams that are getting relegated down is 28th place Granada, 19th place Almeria, and 18th place Cadiz. Yeah, they were just everybody's punching bag this year. It's someone that look, I'm Salvador. Everybody knows this, but Cadiz has a very special place to a lot of Salvadorans because of the fact that this was the team that had Mario Gonzalez. If you guys don't know, Mario Gonzalez is El Salvador's icon, our legend of the country. He was ahead of his time. Many have said, including Maradona, that if Mario Gonzalez was not, if he was Argentinian or Spanish, people would be praising Mario Gonzalez's name, but because he's Salvadorian, he is where he is. So they're getting relegated down. Hopefully they can bounce back and come back to La Liga next year, but we'll see what happens there. Teams to point out, Celta Vigo, man. This team was actually, before I go to Celta Vigo, 14th place Sevilla, another team, the other team that was featured for the jersey bet, a team that was like really flirting with that relegation area, able to just stay alive and live to fight another day. Sevilla is going to be a very interesting team. I want to see what they do and how they respond to improve this team, which this team was very much close to getting sent down to the second division. So I do want to see a response from Sevilla in the offseason. Celta Vigo has been kind of rough over the years, but these past recent years, but still a very tough team, I say, to go up against. Finishing in 13th. Getafe finishes in 12th. Getafe is in a real weird situation. They want to try to keep Mason Greenwood. Obviously, Mason Greenwood, a very controversial player, to say the least. But I know that there's a lot of teams that are very much interested in Mason Greenwood. And I think that obviously, while Mason Greenwood is a quality player, it's a very tricky situation on how you approach to bring in Mason Greenwood because of the baggage that he's about to bring. Because, like I said, even though the charges were dropped, it's still kind of hard to not hear what you heard from the audio from the incident. So that's where it is like, just, it is what it is. The Mason Greenwood story is just going to be something that everyone's going to be following to see what happens with him, because there is some teams that are very much interested in Mason Greenwood, unfortunately. Valencia finishing in 9th, Villarreal in 8th. And going into the Europa Conference League this year is Real Betis. I would say a pretty good year for them. Not too bad, not too shabby. In the Europa League, 5th and 6th, we have Real Sociedad and Athletic Club Bilbao. Athletic Club Bilbao obviously won the Copa del Rey this year. Real Sociedad, always a pretty good, solid team. So, they'll be going to Europa League. The Champions League spots, man, in 4th, 3rd, and 4th place, we have Atletico Madrid, who had to fight their asses off to get back into a Champions League spot, and they are going back to Champions League. Girona finishing in 3rd. Obviously, the story for La Liga has been Girona, a team that I would say many feel like we're punching well above their weight. The thing is about Girona that I should probably mention is that this is one of the teams that are owned by the Manchester City group. So you guys don't know, Manchester City owns a few clubs across the country. Girona is one of those teams. Obviously, New York City FC. There's a team in Australia. I don't remember the name of the team. But they have. This is one of those things where it's kind of like um, fair or unfair, depending on how you feel about it. But so Girona has basically a lot of guys from Manchester City's system. So they kind of go in and out, sort of to say. Um, and obviously, Savio. He's he's probably going to Manchester City next year. There's the Ukrainian who actually led the league in scoring. I don't remember his name. Let me see. Don't want to do this, but La Liga top goal scorer. Artem Dovbyk. So Dovbyk, he got the goal scoring title this year. I'm wondering what's going to happen with him. Is he going to stay with Girona next season, or will he be making an appearance at Manchester City? We'll see what happens there. But a really good team. Do I see them? I feel like they might fall off a little bit next year just because of the fact that there's Champions League. But we'll see. We'll see how Manchester City Group tries to support this team, because obviously Manchester City at the end of the day is who they're gonna have more of their attention to. But we'll see what happens, man. Second place we got FC Barcelona, who, after begging Xavi to stay, are now firing Xavi for the comments that he made in the press conference before the Almeria match. I mean, there's other reasons as well, because of the fact that probably the way the Victor Roque situation, how he handled that. But yeah, he's gone. The rumors are pretty strong that it's going to be Hansi Flick. I've said my piece on Hansi Flick. I'm not gonna talk more about it. I don't think he's the right guy for Barcelona. That's just my opinion. If you guys disagree, well, that is also your opinion as well. So FC Barcelona is going to be really interesting to see how they do in the offseason. It's a lot of things that, it's not an easy job, man. I'm just going to say that it's not an easy job. But all right. So, and then obviously in first place, champions for the 36th time is Real Madrid, who only lost once this season. So very strong performance. Jude Bellingham definitely had a great first year for himself with Real Madrid, and can't wait to see what he does the following year, and can't wait to see what Real Madrid does. Like, as excited as I used to be about. One second. All right, apologies. What I was saying was with Real Madrid. So I used to be excited at the idea of Mbappe coming to Real Madrid, but now I'm not entirely sure. And the reason why is because I don't necessarily think he plays the 9 role to what Real Madrid needs right now. So that's my only concern. But I mean, if he comes, he comes. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I'm not, like, I wouldn't be thrilled at the idea of Kylian Mbappe at Real Madrid. That's not what I'm saying. But it's just, there's concerns. There is concerns of how exactly he will fit to the team. Will he prefer to be a winger? What does that mean to Vinicius and Rodrigo? So those are my concerns right now with Kylian Mbappe. But because I do have a feeling that if Mbappe is being played on the wing, that either Vinny or Rodrigo will be the odd man out, and it's not going to be Vinny, unfortunately. So it might be my adopted son, Rodrigo. So we'll see what happens, man, because that's going to suck, and that probably will mean that somebody's leaving Real Madrid. And that probably would mean my adopted son, Rodrigo, might be leaving Real Madrid, which I don't want to hear that. But that's probably the reality that I'm in, that we are in as Madristas. But yeah, Real Madrid, champions once again. We'll see how they do this weekend in the Champions League final. But yeah, that's where we are at. And the final league, the Premier League, getting relegated down will be Sheffield United at 20th place, 19th place Burnley, and 18th place Luton Town. So I believe these were the three teams that got promoted this year. So all of them were getting sent back down to the championship. Very excited to see the teams that are getting promoted into the Premier League next year. So we'll talk about that when we preview the leagues next year. But teams of note, Everton at 15th place, Fulham at 13th place. The reason why I say Fulham is just because a lot of eyes are on Anthony Robinson. A lot of people felt that he was the best left back this season. So we'll see how he, what comes from that. There is some potential that he could be getting a move somewhere. So we'll see what happens with Anthony Robinson, which I will be very much excited for him. West Ham United finishing at 9th place. And yeah. Wait, what? Wait, this doesn't make any sense. Okay, this makes no sense at all. Hold on one second. All right, I gotta Google something because this doesn't seem right. Um, ESPN sent me something different. Oh, okay. All right. All right. That was confusing as hell, but now I figured it out. So, going to the Europa Conference League is Chelsea, who's sitting in 6th place. And a lot of people are probably confused by that. But the reason why Chelsea is going to the Europa Conference League is because Manchester United, for winning the FA Cup, is going to the Europa League, which means that Chelsea is getting bumped down to the Europa Conference League, which is the other thing that so that's what's happening. And then so Chelsea, even though they're in 6th place, will be going to the Europa Conference League, and 8th place Manchester United is going to the Europa League, along with 5th place Tottenham Hotspur. So that's a very unique chain of events. But all right, Champions League. In 4th place, we have Aston Villa, who will be making. I'm sure a lot of fans are very much excited to see Aston Villa in the Champions League, especially when they were in the Conference League this past season. So they skip Europa League and going right to Champions League. 3rd place is Liverpool. Obviously Arne Slot, it's been official that he is going to be the manager of Liverpool, taking over for Jurgen Klopp. The scenes were amazing for Jurgen Klopp's farewell. Not a dry eye aside in my if I had to say so. But yeah, so Liverpool, 3rd place. 2nd place Arsenal. I have to say this, man. Like, there's so much potential with Arsenal. I think that this team's going to be very exciting to watch. Obviously, the thing that went back down to it is just that Aston Villa game, I think, to me, was really what ruined it for them. I feel like if they were able to get a result from that one, not a result. I think if they were able to win the Aston Villa game, I think that would have this whole race would have been a whole lot different. Because once again, Arsenal. The thing was, Arsenal had to handle what they needed to handle. It's kind of tough to try to depend on other teams to make things work for you. Both Tottenham and West Ham United it's tough to go against Man City. It's just tough in general, and if when it comes down to it, you can't let things. You have to get it done yourself, especially when you're going up against a team like Manchester City. Like the one mistake could cost you, and that's literally what it was that happened. And Manchester City is now champions once again. Um, and that's what it is, man. That's really what it is. But I think that there's a lot to be excited for if you're an Arsenal fan. Like I said, they're just one thing missing. They're just missing one thing, and obviously to me is that it's a striker. Um, I think we'll see what happens, man. Manchester City is also going to be a team to keep an eye on because what's their next big move? Who leaves Manchester City? Who they plan on moving on from and who they plan on bringing in to make this team even scarier under the regime of Pep Guardiola. So, Manchester City, once again, they've just been a force since taking over, and that's where it is, man. But all right, those are the leagues, man. We're gonna go ahead and take a break, and then we'll go right into recapping the Liga MX final and then preview the Champions League final. So get ready for that. Hey guys, this is Hector from the Insert Name FC podcast here to tell you guys about Canada Dips. It is a great tasting, superior alternative to traditional dip using CBD in a way that is radical, enjoyable, and effective. It comes in 5 core flavors: wintergreen, mint, citrus, mango, and American spice. Canada Dip CBD is the new evolution in dip, allowing guys to enjoy great, long-lasting taste without the downsides. If you guys want to go ahead and try them out, use the code BellyUp20 at CanadaDipCBD.com. Once again, BellyUp20 at CanadaDipCBD.com, and you'll get yourself 20% off your purchase. Thank you again for Canada Dips for being a great partner of BellyUpSports. All right, guys, man. So, Liga MX, man. Congratulations to Club America. I picked them from before the playoffs started that they were going to probably win it. Best team defensively, man. That's all I have to say. But let's go ahead and break down these games. So the first leg ended in a 1-1 draw. Cruz Azul, man, have been very good. And like I said what I said about them versus Monterrey, but at the end of the day, I knew that they were also a quality side, man. But we're here now, right? Despite the controversy that I believe there is over the Cruz Azul versus Monterrey game, it is what it is, man. Like their rules are the rules, and I'm still not gonna like it, but I know that that's the rule. But yeah, Cruz Azul in the first leg, it was a 1-1 draw. I would say the beginning of the match was very good, and then it just became a defensive battle for both teams. And I mean, it was definitely not a lot of give or take. So it's a very well solid defensive performances, which once again, I have no problem with it. I know most people don't like that kind of game, but I enjoyed it. I think that there's a lot of value in defensive matches. And then the final, the last leg, the second leg, it was a 1-0 victory for Club America. Once again, very, very tough defensively. Both teams were not giving up a lot, and unfortunately, it came down to a penalty. And it's hard because of the fact that like that was probably an egregious call. And yeah, but America got a penalty. They took the penalty, scored it, and once again, like I said, both teams were not giving up a lot. We're not giving up much, and that penalty, it was very disappointing. It was a very disappointing penalty because I think that it was clearly not a penalty. In my eyes, it wasn't a penalty, and that's how we end the game. And even though, like I said, I picked Club America to win the whole thing, it's kind of like the worst way to win it. But Club America, champions of the Apertura and the Clausura this season. It's not the way you kind of want to see it go down, but it happened. That's exactly what happened. So there is that, man. So congratulations, Club America, champions, back-to-back champions. It is what it is. Cruz Azul, I feel for you guys, man. I know that I was rooting against y'all, but you just hate those kind of You hate wins like that. You just do. But it is what it is, man. But all right. This weekend, Champions League final, Real Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund. How they got here. Obviously, Real Madrid winners of their group, which was Group C. They beat out Napoli, Braga, and Union Berlin. Didn't lose a single match in the group stages. And then Borussia Dortmund, man, winners of Group F, which was the group of death. They had PSG, AC Milan, and Newcastle United in that group. And they were able to win. It went down to some very narrow margins, but did have 3 wins, 2 draws, and a loss in that span of matches. And then when we get to the not the quarterfinals, the round of 16, Real Madrid had to face off against RB Leipzig, Borussia Dortmund against PSV. Both of them won their matches. I would say a tale of 2 different matches because I think Real Madrid, it was a very, I would say, overwhelming victory against RB Leipzig, whereas Dortmund just kind of like handled their business and won outright. Didn't make it even feel close. And then the quarterfinals, Real Madrid was faced off against Man City, a team that many would have gone back to the final. I honestly felt like that should have been the final, was Real Madrid and Manchester City. But we got them in the quarterfinals, and it did not disappoint. It went all the way down to penalties. Real Madrid went ahead and won in pens. Borussia Dortmund, I feel, got the daunting challenge of going up against Atletico Madrid, and they held their own. Man, they lost in the first leg 2-1, but ended up winning the second leg 4-2 to advance on to the semifinals. I think that was the shift I think that was the momentum shift that Borussia Dortmund needed to move on, to beat a team like Atletico Madrid. And then in the semifinals, Real Madrid took on Bayern Munich, beat them 4-3 in a very controversial second leg. Say what you want, but it's kind of what sums up Bayern Munich versus Real Madrid in the Champions League. And then Borussia Dortmund having to go up against PSG, a team that many people felt that this is their last shot at winning a Champions League, and thought that they had the easiest path to do so. But Dortmund 1-0 both matches. Defensive performance, and I think rightfully so. Like I said, I think they took a lot from that Atletico Madrid matchup. I think they took learned a lot from that matchup and applied it to themselves, especially against PSG. And now here we are, the final. Borussia Dortmund, with the amazing bounce back story of Jadon Sancho, the farewell tour for Marco Rose. This is Marco Rose's final match as a player for Borussia Dortmund. Where he goes after is going to be definitely the story to follow this summer. Jadon Sancho probably be also another story to follow this summer. But Borussia Dortmund making a return to the Champions League final and going up against Real Madrid, a team that is undefeated in Champions League finals, a team that also has their own story with Jude Bellingham having his first season be what it is, scoring more goals than anybody ever thought could happen, facing his former team and playing in his home country, as well as Jadon Sancho. But obviously the other story is with Real Madrid is that they did this with the injuries of David Alaba, with the injuries of Eder Militao, with the injury of Thibaut Courtois. And I believe that there is some news that Tchouaméni will not be playing in this game. I think he got hit with a slight injury, so he probably is not going to play, which kind of, not really, but kind of does hurt Real Madrid because there is the statistic that Real Madrid has yet to have lost when Tchouaméni is in the lineup, when Tchouaméni is starting in the game. So I don't know how strong that rumor is, but the rumor is there. The question also is Real Madrid going to start Lunin, who's been playing all year filling in for Thibaut Courtois, or will Courtois be starting? I think that's a very important one. Obviously, Courtois has a lot of experience, but I think Lunin has earned the right to be in the final. That's just my thoughts, but we'll see what happens, man. But I'm really excited about this final, man. I think these are two really good storylines to come in here and face off in a really good final. Obviously, Tony Cruz now is the news story too. Tony Cruz has announced his retirement. After the Euro, he's officially he's retiring from the game. So that is going to be another one to follow. Can he end his time as a footballer with another Champions League trophy? Which I really hope that that's the case, because Tony Cruz is an amazing player. Ahead of definitely the epitome of what you want from a midfielder. Amazing vision, amazing passing ability. Just all in all, just the perfect definition of what you want from an 8. And I think he's going to be missed. But I think Real Madrid obviously has an exciting young core of midfielders that it's going to be a really good time. But yeah, Toni Kroos, man, just what a player. It is crazy to think that with him gone, it's going to be just Luka Modric and Dani Carvajal. So the last of that amazing team of Real Madrid. So what does Borussia Dortmund have to do to win? I think I think a lot of it's going to be of how they defend Vinicius Jr. I think Dortmund did a really good job at defending Kylian Mbappe, and I think it's probably going to be the similar approach. It's just that on the other, the thing is like while you're keeping the wings quiet, you also have to worry about that midfield, and I think that's a little bit different from PSG. I think the midfield is going to be the real threat for Dortmund on this one. So it's going to be on how well they defend that midfield. Because I think with the midfield, depending on who's in that midfield, that's where if you try to take out the wings with Rodrigo and Vinicius, then you have that midfield of a combination of Valverde, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, if he's playing, with Toni Kroos or Luka Modric, Jude Bellingham, like however they set up that midfield, it is going to be how do you keep them quiet while also trying to keep the wings quiet. So I think that's going to be the point of emphasis for Borussia Dortmund is how are they going to keep not only the wings quiet, but also try to mitigate any ball movement from the midfield. For Real Madrid, it's going to be honestly, it's trying to find a chink in that armor, because Borussia Dortmund pretty good defensively, especially right now in recent games. There's a lot of confidence going in from that BVB wall. So Real Madrid is going to be where do they find that weak spot in that armor of Borussia Dortmund? Like I said, for Borussia Dortmund, is for them defending, keep defending until they finally get their shot. Whereas Real Madrid is keep pressing and get their shot. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup. I think that we're going to see Borussia Dortmund be more on the defensive side. I think Real Madrid's definitely going to have majority of the possession of this match. The question is going to be, can Real Madrid find their opening and pounce on it? So it's going to be an interesting matchup. I would love to say that this is going to be a battle, but I think that this is going to be a very comfortable 2-0 victory for Real Madrid. That's just me, obviously, also biased along with bias because I am a Madrista. But I can't wait, man. This is going to be an exciting final. Borussia Dortmund, Real Madrid. But once again, Real Madrid is undefeated in Champions League finals. So I obviously I have not only my bias, but that streak is so important to me. But maybe Dortmund could be that team to finally end the streak. Who knows, man? It's kind of hard for me, man, because obviously I'm a Madrista, but Marco Reus is just an amazing player. And I would love to see him finally have some success, but not against my team. So there is that. But all right, we're going to go ahead and transition over to Players of the Week. All right, guys. Players of the Week. Players of the Week is brought to you by SeatGeek.com. SeatGeek is an amazing ticketing site, app, however you want to use it. It has an amazing grading system with using colors. If it's red, that means not the great deal. keep looking through the app or the website. You'll find an amazing deal. And if it's green, that means it's an amazing deal. Go ahead and buy these tickets. I use SeatGeek a lot of times because I love watching MLS games, sporting events. I usually go through SeatGeek to make sure I find the best deal possible for me and my friends and family. So if you guys love SeatGeek and want something a little bit more to sweeten up this offer, if you guys use the code BellyUpSports at checkout for your first time purchase at SeatGeek.com, you'll save $20 off your purchase. So thank you again, SeatGeek, for being the presenting partner of Players of the Week. Players of the Week is Edward picked Granit Xhaka, who scored the winning goal in Bayer Leverkusen's 1-0 victory against Kaiserslautern to win the DFB Pokal. It was a banger of a goal. Solid pick from Edward. Granit Xhaka, I know I said some things about him when he was at Arsenal, but he did redeem himself, and now he's over at Leverkusen doing his thing over there with that team. My pick for Player of the Week is Nico Williams. He scored the winning goal in Athletic Club Bilbao's 1-0 victory against Rayo Vallecano, which did secure them an Europa League spot. So congratulations to Nico Williams and Granit Xhaka for being our Players of the Week. Once again, guys, if you guys want to save $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek.com, use that code BellyUpSports to get $20 off your first purchase. Thank you again, SeatGeek, for being the presenting partner of Players of the Week. And now we got some games to look forward to this weekend. We have the Champions League final, Real Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund. We also have the CONCACAF Champions Cup, Pachuca versus Columbus Crew. We'll see who finishes that one. We have the Saudi Kings Cup, Al Hilal versus Al Nassr. Cristiano Ronaldo, man, he's trying to get a trophy with a record-breaking season that he's having right now over there in the Saudi League. And an international friendly, Costa Rica versus Uruguay, as they're now preparing for Copa America. And Real Salt Lake taking on Austin FC, had a 3-3 draw against FC Dallas. Can they respond with a victory against Austin FC? And Portland Timbers versus Houston Dynamo. Houston Dynamo are in desperate need of a victory. Let's see if they can get it done over in Portland. But there is that. It's not all the games. Obviously, a little less games than usual because of the fact that now we're getting into the off season and international tournaments are coming into play. So we will have some international friendlies going on in the weeks, but prior to the Euro and Copa America, and the Olympics. So be in the lookout for some of these matches when we get there. So we're gonna go ahead and take one more break and wrap this show up in a pretty little bow.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at BellyUpSports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, we can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
Thank you so much for listening to episode 170. Holy shit, where we're at now? I think it's 177. I could be wrong. I think it's 177. It is 177. So thank you so much for listening to episode 177, man. I'm excited, bro. This weekend, Champions League final. It is always a fun time, regardless of who plays. Obviously, it means more when your team is on it. So I can't wait for it to go down. Hopefully, Real Madrid can win their 15th Champions League title. But if they do lose, I will. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. It'd be pretty cool to see Marco Rose finally get one. But finally have his moment. But also at the same time, I really do want Real Madrid to win. But guys, check out BellyUpSports.com. Lots of great articles that are constantly written right now. We got MLB regular season going on. We have NHL playoffs. We have NBA playoffs. Obviously, the Boston Celtics are going to the finals. I believe we might see the Dallas Mavericks in the final as well. So we'll see how that all turns out over there. But yeah, if you want to be in the know of all the sports here in the great United States of America and even internationally, go ahead and check out Belly Up Sports. Like I said, lots of great articles that are being written over there. And also check out the media side, man. Follow them on Instagram and the X at Belly Up Media and at Belly Up Sports. Lots of great podcasts with the Belly Up Sports media group. Obviously, us, insert name FC, but you can also check out Corner Booth Pod, High and Low Sports, 1420. Just lots. The list goes on and on, man. But lots of great content, man. A lot of busy stuff going on for us here at Belly Up Sports. So go ahead and check it out. Also, check out GolzTV, especially if you are looking for content on soccer here in the United States of America and Canada. So go ahead and check it out if you want the American/Canadian perspective on the beautiful game. You can follow them on Instagram at golz.tv and on the X at golz_TV. And also go ahead and check out their website, golz.tv. GolzTV is, it's amazing. And obviously you'll see me on some of their original programs like Wake Up MLS. So make sure you're on the lookout for that. Also, shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, Roosevelt Spencer. If you guys like our intros and outros for these episodes, well, hit him up once again on Instagram at That Guy Dope. He makes great beats. Might have to talk to him about a new beat for the next season. We'll definitely get there when we get there. But So, oh shit. Update on the jersey bed. Not the jersey bed, the singing bed. Edward is in fact eliminated. He finished in last place. I ended up winning the league. So, end of year episode, Edward will be singing for the final time because this will be the last time we'll be doing the singing bed due to copyright. Obviously we're trying to get the YouTube channel monetized, and obviously the singing bed, you do get copyright strikes for it. So we're gonna go ahead and this will be the last time we ever do the singing bet. So Edward will be the last loser of the singing bet. We will have a new bet in place between me, Edward, and Spencer. We'll explain it when we do get to the new season. So Edward is in fact doing the singing bet for the last time here at Insert Name FC. So we'll definitely make sure that Edward gets them done before our end of year episode. So thank you so much for listening to episode 177. Catch us next week for episode 178, where we will wrap up all the European competitions. Also recap CONCACAF Champions Cup. And probably this is where we're gonna talk about what exactly do we have planned for the off season. Obviously, would like to take some sort of break before we go into the Euro. But I also think that we might not be able to because, like I said, on June 14th, I'll be leaving the country to go to El Salvador. So probably that's when I'll take my break. So we'll see what happens, man. But we'll definitely keep you posted. Well, next episode we'll probably have a better idea of what the plan is. So thank you so much for listening. Catch us next week for episode 177, where we will recap the Champions League and so much more. So thank you guys. Take care.
Who is that guy?